Good afternoon. It's just after 4 o'clock on Tuesday, March 5th. I'd like to call the meeting of the Ways and Means Committee to order. Could you take the roll, please?
Here.
Here.
Lutz.
Here.
Krieger.
Yes, sir.
Forget.
Here.
Lynn.
Here.
Ryder.
Here.
Francis.
Here.
Thank you. Next up, the minutes of 2/5/19.
Motion approved.
Board. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public input. If there's anyone from the public that would like to step forward, we have quite a crowd here today. So obviously, nobody's coming up, so we'll move right on to petitions and communications. From the Bay County Prosecutor, we have the budget adjustments.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And also from the prosecutor, the amendment to the Victim of Crime Act grant agreement.
So moved.
Support. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, the Bay County Clerk funding request.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. Commissioner Coonan.
Now, why wouldn't this allocation be part of the budget process? And we all get an opportunity to review it during the budget process and adopt it then. Why do we have to go to take an allocation from fund balance?
Jan.
Yeah. If you look at her letter, it actually states that the funds are available in her 2019 budget. I believe it was written here wrong. It's not coming from fund balance. It is within her budget. She has $6,000 in that line item for this payment.
Now,
so.
then why does this have to come to the board then?
They have something in the, she sent me in their election thing that says that they will have it approved because it's software. So it's just,
Shouldn't it be done through, should it be not done through the budget process? And it's an annual fee.
it is, yeah. And it was in the, she brought the letter forward to get a formal approval, but yes, it was included in the budget and it was in that process, so.
So would it have had to come through here, since it was already?
No.
Okay, okay.
No, and it did state on the front page that the allocations from fund balance, that is not, it's
Yeah.
already in the budget,
Okay.
so it wouldn't be an additional.
Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, from the Director of Environmental Affairs and Community Development, Bay County Promotional Video.
So moved.
Support. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. From the Director of Recreation and Facilities, the Boys and Girls Club Summer
So
Program.
moved.
Support.
Discussion. It's a great program, and good to see everybody just buys into it all the time. We've been doing this for quite a while. Did you need to speak on this, or did you?
Well, no, I was just.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. From the Director of Administrative Services and Veterans Affairs, the Veteran Service Officer and Emergency Relief Coordinator contracts.
So moved.
Support. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. From the Director of Department on Aging, a contract with the motivational speaker for Staff and Service Day.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now from the Personnel Director, this is the Shawna Walraven cash out of accrued sick and vacation time.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The Delta College Fitness and Recreation Center Agreement.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And tuition reimbursement for Craig Roulette, Director of Administrative Services.
Move to receive. Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next, the payables for General and Center Ridge Arms.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. From the Finance Officer, we need the analysis of the General Fund Equity 2019. Motion to receive.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And the update of the Executive Directive 2007-11.
Move to receive. Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the 2020 budget calendar. Are we just receiving this? Is that what we're doing? Okay, we're adopting this.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, that was pretty quick. Okay. Are there any referrals? Unfinished business? New business? Closed session?
Mr. Chair, I would request that the board go into closed session pursuant to NCL 15.268, subsection E, to discuss settlement strategy regarding pending litigation in the matter of Anthor versus Brown, Bay County Circuit Court case number 18-3726-N0-H.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. Seeing none, could you take the roll, please?
Lutz,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
McGarrett,
Yes.
Coonan,
Yes.
Ryder,
Yes.
Duranta,
Yes.
Burr,
Yes.
motion carried.
We are be going to closed session. Someone want to make a motion on this?
Sounds like he was bored.
Or no?
I'll make a motion to continue with negotiations
As
as
discussed during closed
discussed
session.
during closed session.
Support.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, any miscellaneous? Not yet? Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks, Mark.
I was at the NACO conference this weekend, and we have a Bay Medical Care Facility, and what they've been pushing for the last couple times I've been at NACO is to put patients over paperwork, is what they're calling it, and trying to get Center for Medicare and Medicaid to simplify their regulations or make them clear that they're quite confusing at times. It causes them to do a lot of excess paperwork and not see patients. It was a little controversial. Some people are concerned about patient care, that they aren't properly being taken care of, that we would loosen the regulations so much that there would be some harm to patients. The vote was very close. It was like a one-vote margin to, now this is NACO going to HHS and recommending this. You know, that's still a lobby for it, basically is what it is. NACO will not lobby. So it was passed, so they'll proceed with trying to get less paperwork and
by
take
one
care of
vote?
patients.
By one vote it passed?
One vote.
What was the argument against it? I'm just kind of
Yeah,
curious.
it's patient safety. It's basically about yeah, in the last session in Nashville, we had people talking about bad things that had happened to relatives of theirs in nursing homes, so, and, you know, that's that possibility, but they felt that if they make the regulations clearer so people can understand what they're doing and how to follow the regulations, that's clear also. It took them so long. If they had a deficiency, it's pretty expensive. There's a lot of money involved with it, but, so it's a balance of patient safety and less unnecessary paperwork. So the less unnecessary paperwork won out at this point in time.
Okay.
NACO otherwise, I got to go to a marijuana session. By the way, Mac's going to have a session on marijuana if you're coming to the Mac conference.
Yeah, you didn't have a card, you didn't get a card there, did you?
We did have lunch, but there was no medibles there, so we just, but
Nobody inhaled.
it's interesting because they said when they first started these about 2 years ago, there were like 2 states that had marijuana laws. Now there's 20-some states, and so there's a lot of legislative process and how do you deal with the money. The money is still an issue because it's still a lot. You can't use banks, you gotta use cash. So all this money is floating around with, security, whatever necessary to protect it. So they're working with the feds. There are some lobbyists there from the marijuana industry trying to lobby the federal government to change the law, to allow it to be nationally okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be at the MAC conference too, if you're coming down to that. There'll be a seminar.
Okay. Anyone else? No?
I have an announcement.
Oh, you have an announcement, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the board and everyone know that Bay County's Finance Department has again received the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our fiscal year 2017. And the complete annual financial report, which was analyzed and determined again to merit the coveted sort of certificate of achievement recognition. That is the highest form of recognition for governmental accounting and financial reporting. And this will be the 5th year since 2014 that the Finance Department has received that recognition. So I guess the Finance Department staff know, Jan, that we appreciate the accuracy in financial reporting and keeping this on.
I got a question. When are we going to see the 2018 audit?
It's due June 30th. It usually, our auditors are on site the first week of May.
Yeah.
So we'll have better numbers right before that. But it's looking to have a deficit this year. We already know the 1.4 that we gave to Viva will be, put us in that.
That's why
We
we're
use
having,
self-fund
that's why
balance.
we're having the deficit.
Yes, but we did have that budgeted, so we are aware of it, so,
So in 17, we had a surplus.
yes.
Okay, in 16, we had a surplus. In 15, we had a surplus. So the deficit, the projected deficit is due to the fact that we funded the VIVA $1.4 million.
Yeah. And it's looking right now, and our numbers are really early on, but our revenues aren't coming in at the level we expected, so we believe that we will have a use of fund balance as we projected in the budget, so.
Now going forward, the VIVA, we always funded pay-as-you-go. This is a Gatsby scheme to let people know what debt is out there, or projected debt for health care for the employees. I don't think we should put our regular budget in deficit just to fund the VIVA. We're still going to pay the VIVA as you go. Plus, I believe in the last contract negotiations, for some reason, those new employees don't get any post-employment health care. So that should have a significant, if you were to take that and amortize that for 30 or 40 years, then you're going to come to a point where there is no more health care. So it'll be a benefit to the budget as well.
Correct. It is a closed plan, so that does help us as far as funding. In the budget this year, we are, instead of giving 8% to retirement, we were doing 4 to retirement and 4. It actually equated to 6% because we took it on only the employees who will benefit from. So any new hires who do not receive the post-employment help, that's not taken on their wages. It's only on the people who qualify for it. So we came up, it's roughly $800,000 that is going to Viva. That was we just received our valuation from our Viva plan, and we went up to 27% funded now, so we're slowly rising, which is what the state wants us to show. The state wants us to show that we're at 40%, so I have a plan of correction that I have to put together here. Now that I received the valuation, we'll have to submit that to the state, telling them what our plan is as far as getting it up to that 40%, or when we believe we will reach that 40%.
Our plan is to pay post-employment health care on an annual basis, like we always have in the past, and I surely wouldn't support putting our general fund into deficit funding, overfunding the VEBA. I wouldn't support that, and because we're still going to, we always have, we always will provide post-employment health care. We don't have to do it the way the state tells us to do it, but we will do it. So I think we need to focus on our general fund and ensure that we continue to have surpluses instead of deficit. And this, if we have a projected deficit this year, it's only because we pre-funded, overfunded the VEBA.
Go ahead.
And in addition, I think you recall that we raised from 15% to 20% for the budget stabilization fund, a rainy day fund. I know, shared some information, actually Bay County is in pretty good shape financially compared to some of our counterparts around the state.
Absolutely.
There was an article in the Detroit News last Sunday about these legacy costs that some of the municipalities and counties are facing, significantly different. So that speaks well to all the board members for their foresight in previous years in maintaining that balanced budget and
Most
surplus.
municipalities have two legacy costs, the pension and health care. We basically have health care because our pension's overfunded. Even though we still fund it at 4%, always have funded it at 4%, we're still over 100%. And some of these places that are even at 80%, and a lot of places would love to be at 80%, but the amount of money that they have to fund at 80% is huge. And some of these places that are 50%, that's where they're really having problems. So we've got our challenge, and it's not a challenge, it's just a cost that everybody has, is healthcare for employees and for, but you know, as an employer, we do provide healthcare to our employees and post-employment healthcare, and we always will, until it comes to that point where those people, for whatever reason, through contract negotiations, new hires don't have it. And like you said, that's a closed program, so at some point, that goes away as well.
Just as a little point of interest, you know, like Saginaw and Midland have zero in their VEBA. They have nothing. You send like Saginaw, for instance, their plan of action calls for them to add $1 million. They have almost the same amount of retirees that we have, but theirs says they have to give $1 million a year. And that's their plan of action. And so and they'll never catch up, but that's the plan of action. So this the way the state has this figured out is kind of weird, because it doesn't make any sense to me. You know, that they can say, we can give $1 million a year, and the state's going, that's fine, because you're paying as you go, and you're adding $1 million to your VEBA, and they have none now. And the same thing with Midland. So our plan of action seems like, you know, whatever we do is going to be way over the top of what everybody else does. And I don't know how, I don't know what the state does. I don't know, and that's way beyond what, you know, what I guess what I understand because of what I hear. So hopefully they'll get this figured out, and you know, Jan, you know, you're gonna deal with them, and it'd be interesting, you know, even if you could find out what exactly they did to, you know, they get the state to not bother them anymore, and to say that, oh yeah, your plan of action is good, because I ask about it all the time, and that's what they told. This I heard last week. So it doesn't make sense why we're here with 27% and they're at zero, and we're putting money like crazy, and they're putting on $1 million a year, and they're saying, yeah, you do that for 14 years, you're going to be right up to par where you should be, which makes no sense. But I don't know how they do it. But I talked to the guy from Saginaw, and I know that's what he told me, that they said, yeah, he said, we got okayed. I went, all right, yeah, whatever. So bureaucracy is an amazing thing. I want to back up 1 second. I wanted to ask Craig about your Veterans Affairs Committee had a meeting, and just how, you and Vaughn were there, and how did it go, and when's the next meeting? Just in case, and are there any plans to do anything with to tape it, or you're going to put them on, are we doing that, maybe doing on Bay 3 TV for the other veterans that can't be there? So is there anything you can tell us about it?
Yeah, it was a very good meeting. The committee members, they elected their officers, conducted a few items of business, one of which you saw on the agenda today. They seemed to understand what, the goal. We're going to meet again. The goal is to meet preceding the Personnel Human Resource meeting. So we'll do that right now, initially every month. That'll be set on the calendar. So the next meeting is on the 19th, scheduled for. And they'll be there. We're going to start looking at some finance reporting and various things like that for the committee members. But it was a very good meeting, very productive. Walked away very happy with it. So. And as you know, Mr. Vigic is the committee chairman.
Commissioner Krieger.
So will Bay 3 be covering that meeting?
Yes.
And is there going to be an issue if county commissioners were to come in and sit on that because we're not participating, we're just here in the audience.
More than welcome to come in and sit and
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
One thing, at NACO, we did have a session about veteran services, best practices in different states. California has a homeless problem, and they're doing some rapid rehousing with tiny houses, the tiny house thing, in one of the counties to house some of their veterans. Texas has got a program. They don't really have a legion down there. They have a group of people that get together and help the veterans out. So it's sort of a best practice type thing. And they had a council there from the VA talking about suicide, veteran suicide, and what the VA is trying to do to pick people up early in the process. It was good.
Thank you. I think we got it all covered now. Last thing on the agenda.
Move to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn is always in order.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Good night.